the current bitrate value is 156. For yours. This thread. Have you? Okay. Yes, it has. Okay, we are ready to go.
Nearly 15 million people have logged on and experienced the world of Warcraft. Quite commonly overlooked is the rich and illustrious lore and history behind Azeroth. Join us as we venture beyond the pixels, code, and players. Welcome to the story of Warcraft.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Iron Pride, and this is But Wait There's Lore right here on youtube.com/The Smoking Gamer. And now we're in HD, which, for you live listeners out there, is why it took us 20 minutes longer than it should have. Going from the standard definition to HD has apparently caused many problems, but we have gotten them all fixed, and we are ready to roll. I am Iron Pride, as I said, and I am joined today by Necroxus.
Hello.
And of course, Janelle.
Hello.
Dunscream. And last but not least, Luigi. How's it going, guys? This is the cast for the day. We've got a lot of things to talk about. Starting off with, I guess we're going to talk a little bit about 5.3, obviously, because it just hit the live realms. We're also going to be talking about Dawn of the Aspects, Part 4, plus, going back and re-hitting up some of those things from Parts 1, 2, and 3, and all that good stuff. But, yeah. In the meantime, I'm going to take this mask off because it's getting awfully hot in there. I want to go ahead and let you guys know that you can join us right now in the IRC by going to knightsoflore.com, hitting up right there on the sidebar. It should say live chat. Go ahead, click on that. All you got to do, type in your name, hit enter. You'll be in here with us in the IRC. Now, if you're watching live and all that good stuff, there is also, of course, the YouTube comments on the side. However, they don't really load in real time, so it can be a little... We don't get it until a couple minutes after you say it. While it's in the IRC, we get it, the moment you say it. But it's up to you. You can use either one. Either one is fine. So don't worry about it too much. If you're not in the IRC, you can use the YouTube comments below. If you're watching the archive, of course, the comments are always there for you. But if you want to get in touch with us, you can always send us an email to lore@omfg.fm. I will say, for any of you that know some of my real life situations and whatnot, obviously I did survive the May 20th tornado here in my town, southwest Oklahoma City. Actually kind of came right underneath us and all that good stuff, but I am alive. Everyone I know is alive, so not too badly affected by that outside of having no running water for a couple days. But my heart does go out to everyone involved that was affected by those tornadoes. Also, just last night, I heard that the I-5 bridge crossing over some river, I forget the name of it, in Washington State, I believe, came down last night. It collapsed last night, and there are quite a few injuries and deaths involved with that, too. So that's heartbreaking as well. A lot of tragedy going on these last couple days throughout the world. We had the tornadoes last week in Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky. This week, of course, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. So, and then the I-5 going down in Washington State. So, and of course, we can't forget the guy that was attacked and the soldier that was attacked in London. So, I don't know what the hell the world is coming to, but there's one thing it can't change, and that's it. But wait, there's Lore is live right here on youtube.com/thesmokinggamer. Done. You've been reading a book series for quite some time. It's by a guy named Richard A. Knack.
Almost finished now, yeah. Just one more to go now.
One more to go. We're going to jump into some lore here, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's happened before Book 4, because we've been covering this as they've come out. They've been releasing one a month. And, of course, back in Season 5 is when this all started coming out. So, Dunn, can you give us an update, kind of recap us on what happened in Book 1, 2, and 3 of the Dawn of the Aspect series?
Yeah, I was sort of trying to think of an opportunity where I could say, this is not the subject you want to talk about first, and then make a joke how I thought this was Inquisitors, because people say I look like a Jedi, apparently. But it didn't quite fit with what I wanted to do, so I'm going to lose the hood, actually, because it's warm under here.
See, I told you, it's hot under those things. Howitzer, however, has to stay in his Luigi hat, otherwise he is fired.
That's pretty much how it works, yeah. If I had had the forethought, I'd have got Howie to do a Howie Writes the Lore to sum up the first 3 books, because that would have been funnier than... Well, that would have been good. Maybe once we finish the books, you can rewrite the whole book and do
all of it.
like a double length feature or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so basically the gist of this book series interest much more exciting than I'm going to make it sound. For some reason that we don't quite understand, though, we know it has something to do with Titan artifacts. Caligos goes back in time, and his mind, his essence, soul, whatever, what have you, is trapped in Proto-Drake version of Malagos, who is the cleverest of all the Proto-Drakes. Around this time, Galakrond is like huge, and Galakrond has started eating other drakes, which he didn't used to do, but now he's doing it. With the Proto-Drake development, they're sort of on the verge of intelligence. There's still some like dumb drakes who are like feral creatures, but some of all the like main characters, Ysera, Nozdormu, etc., they all talk. Not very good at the English, but they've just started, so what can you do? Anyway, then there were some zombie proto-drakes for absolutely no reason whatsoever, and we were really confused, and we're like, well, I guess the Scourge predates life on Azeroth then, as we know it. But it turns out that Galakrond vomited up the zombie proto-drakes, and then he started growing eyes and extra legs and wings and like mouths on his belly button and stuff. And it was all starting to look like something from the graphic novel Black Hole, which is very good, but not well related. And then Jaina got involved, and she started snooping around, and last time we left her, she found the Titan artifacts, and she's gone to research that. What else has happened? Oh yeah, Tyr was there. That was kind of a big deal. Because we haven't, within the World of Warcraft, the only mention of him is Tyr's hand up in, where's that place? Necro! Where's that place?
Eastern Plaguelands.
That's the one. I get the two mixed up often. And, of course, there was his little shrine up in the Storm Peaks, which was abandoned. But anyway, to Book 4. And what I'm going to say before I talk about Book 4, if for God knows what reason you actually want to read the books after I tell you about them, I would recommend waiting until the 5th one's out and reading them all in one go, because I'm sort of... The way that Knack writes, he likes his big wordy battle scenes, but the problem with that is when he's splitting a book into 5, not much happens in each book as a contained book, because like the last third of Dawn of the Aspects 4 is like a really amazing battle, which is actually one of the focal points as far as I'm concerned of this book, but it doesn't leave much room for everything else. But if you read it all in one go, I think that would be better. And in hindsight, I would have preferred to have done that. But also, weren't you meant to be buying these books for me?
Yes, but you always buy them before I can.
That's awfully convenient.
So what am I supposed to do? Buy you a book you've already bought?
I should have saved my receipts.
You should have saved your receipts.
It's okay. You can get me the Vol'jin one when that comes out.
You can use the company card next time.
But that's expensive. These are like $1. That's like $40.
What?
Pride clearly does not buy many books.
No, all of my books that I have were sent to me by other people.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't blame you for not buying books. When Tangent, when I was over in Florida a few weeks ago, I went to many a Books A Million. I was looking for the StarCraft 2 Flashpoint novel, and I walked in and I went to the customer service desk and I'm like, "Yo, I'm looking for Flashpoint by Christy Golden." And she's like, "Oh yeah, that's in the graphic novel section." And I said, "But why is it? Because it is not a graphic novel." It's like, that's where the system says it is. I eventually found one, and when I went to buy it, the same chick who had told me it was in the graphic novel section served me. And I was like, well, as you can see, it is clearly not a graphic novel. But, yeah. So I can imagine you not buying books because American bookstores are horribly organized.
Those dumb Floridians.
Well, no,
Blame
it's
it all
just
on
that
them.
I don't. Why go out and buy a book that I know someone is going to send me for free? Right?
Why buy
Or
a
that
book
Dun
when
can
you
be
don't
carefully
read?
summarized.
I'll read.
That too, and I don't read.
Yeah.
Done
I
read.
wanna
This
read.
is how it goes. We've said this before. Done reads the books, and then I have an hour-long conversation about what happened in the book so that I don't have to read the book. So, see, I've just saved, like, 10 hours of my life not having to read that book.
I actually want to read the Vol'jin book. Seems interesting.
So do I. Well, I'm not sure if I want to, but I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna end up reading it.
Me too.
It's gonna be a
July
good book.
2nd.
Anyway, the major events of book 4. Let's see. Jaina realizes, if you remember from last time we spoke about this, Jaina saw like some sort of this where Necro read from a PM I sent him. Jaina saw some sort of symbol of like some birds and stars and a crescent moon and some triangles.
Sailor Moon shit right there.
Yeah. So basically, she's Azeroth's Sailor Moon. She went back to Dalaran because she's like, I've seen this in a book before. But when she got back to Dalaran, she read the book, and the information she was looking for was not in the book anymore. And she used magic to like read the whole book or something, and nothing else had changed. And then for some reason, she deduced that Titan magic had erased the information from the book. But then she realized if she turned the symbol the other way around, it unlocked Titan magic, and then the information was back in the book.
So she kind of just figured this out of nowhere. She's like, "Oh,
Yeah, pretty much.
now I know how to fix it."
This comes up again later, because if you recall correctly, the Titan artifact that is causing all these problems is also affecting the wards in the Nexus. Did I tell you that in the PM? Or did I forget to... Oh, like in book 3, the Titan magic is affecting all the wards in the Nexus.
Oh no.
So that was pretty serious. Yeah. But yeah, that's... Jaina eventually gets into the Nexus by... She's like, maybe if I turn the symbol around, I'll be able to get in. And she unlocks all the Nexus wards reinforced by Titan magic. Because that's a thing. No one cares about Jaina. I don't know what Jaina is taking up valuable dragon lore.
Yeah, really. I like her,
like,
but it seems like that's what's going on. She's wasting time.
I bet she's going to do something really, really important at the end that takes up 1 chapter, and that's why she got a billion chapters beforehand.
I think she's only in it because of the like relationship they set between Calicos and Jaina.
Could they not like have put this in her own fucking book that she got? Like,
no, because that was angry Jaina, and this is Jaina who has learned to love again.
But isn't she like ignoring her duties and like just ignoring people who want like her counsel?
Madeira like tried to find her, and Jaina's just hiding. And Madeira's just like
Madeira,
whatever her name is.
Modera.
That's the one.
Modera, whatever.
Modera.
Archmage.
Whatever.
I'm calling Modera.
I like Madeira, and I just invent names, and then Necro says them by mistake in his Green Fire video.
Son of a bitch, that did happen.
What? Yeah, she was all like, "It's really important, Jaina, when you get back, come talk to me." And she wrote a message in shiny letters in the sky. Well, not in the sky, in like the air, in Jaina's office, I guess. And Jaina was invisible in a corner or something, hiding. So Jaina is not doing some important like Dalaran business because she wants to hook up with Calicos. That's my theory at the moment. But no, honestly, no one cares about Jaina. Let's talk about what happens in the past with the dragons, because we barely see any like present day Calicos in this book, which, as far as I'm concerned, is great because it's just him whining about why do I keep getting sent back to the past. But no, it's pretty much all Malygos Calicos combo. We start, of course, we left off in book 3. All the zombie dragons were coming out of the air. What happened? Ysera charges right at Galakron. She's like, I can take him. I think she actually wanted to try talk peace with him, and Alex Straza's like, no, and drags her away. Malygos is like, oh no, where is Ysera and Alex Straza? But then he decides that the greater threat is all the zombie dragons. So we ignored Ysera and Alex Straza for a while, and we have an epic battle between Malygos, Nozdormu, Nefarian, Talonixia, and like this other like silver dragon who breathes like liquid metal on people, which was pretty badass. But they clear up the zombies, and then Galakron comes, and then the Talonixia is like, let's fight Galakron because that's sort of a thing. And they're fighting Galakron, and Galakron at this point is covered in eyes that look like they're darting around like manically, sort of like on
like Cho'Gall.
Yeah. But then Malagos turns to Nozdormu, and they both look at each other and say, the eyes. Because both of them realized at the same time that the eyes are manically looking around. Each eye is tracking an individual dragon. And Galakron's just sort of flying there and tracking all these dragons flying around him, who, like, he dwarfs them. And then at one point, when all the dragons are close enough, he just breathes out, like, this smog. And Malagos doesn't quite have the words to describe it, so he sort of says he breathes the slow death. So it's like a poisonous smog thing. A lot of dragons just, like, die and fall from the sky. Some, like, the named characters, obviously, they're alright. But Talonixia is like, no, I can still do it, I can fight. And then Galakron bites her in half. Which I thought was cool because I hated Talonixia. She was a dick of the highest order. And then, yeah, pretty good. Moment of silence for Talonixia, if you would. And we're done. So, what happened? Malagos. Someone did get a text message. How rude! I'm trying to do a bit.
Damn it, Necroxus!
I'm so popular. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh shit! Are you quite done, Necro? Do I have the attention of the class?
I already know what happens. Let it go. Continue.
You don't.
Send his ass to detention. Done.
I'm the teacher here, bitch. I'll send all you to detention. Damn it.
Well, that told us. That's so.
Really? I feel so intimidated.
Yeah.
Okay, so we sort of skip forward a bit, and we have Malagos being chased by Galakron, and then Neltharion flies down and stabs Galakron in the eye, and not like a little eye, like he's like a main eye, a head eye, if you will, a real eye. And that's a significant injury for Galakron. He'd sort of been laughing at the other dragons and their attempts to harm him previously, but like Neltharion just dive bombs right into his eye. And then they make their escape because apparently Galakron's response to this is to close both eyes and scream very loud. As I imagine you would if a dragon flew into your eye.
Okay. All right. So okay, let me ask you this, Dun. Let me ask you this. Overall, from parts 1 through 4, we know that the last bit comes out in a month. But overall, in the first 4, what have we actually learned from this time period? Like, when we first started this series, based on what we didn't know, what have we actually learned?
Okay.
In terms of the history, not necessarily the specific events, but what have we learned overall about the creation of the aspects, if you will?
At this point,
so far.
We only just learning something now in book 4, which I was just about to get to. So eventually they all meet up, and Tyr is there, and Alex Straza and Ysera are like, well, he said that he knew you, Malagos, so we just trusted him. Ysera has also tied up a zombie proto-drake that she's keeping as a pet. At one point, because of course Malagos has the hunger, as they're calling it, because he was bit by a zombie proto-drake. And he sort of flips out, and Ysera's like, no, we are your friends. And then he's fine afterwards. And Tyr is there, and he's like, scans Malagos with his artifact. And says, yes, there is no corruption in you anymore. You've either buried it so deep it won't emerge again, or Ysera's helped you purge it from your system. So then he's like, yo, I'm going to scan you with my artifact. Because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to upload your data to the cloud. Because Xbox One is a thing, even in the distant past. And then he's like, okay, we got to fight Galakron, but this time, I will help you. So, and then the last third of the book is just Tyr and the aspects fighting Galakron. There's a cool bit when Ysera charges, like, headfirst at Galakron. And Galakron says, well, you're weak. Maybe I should let you grow up and get stronger before I eat you. And then Ysera says, I am not weak. You are weak. I am strong. And she almost gets eaten for her trouble.
Mhm.
They keep shooting Galakron in the eye, the injured eye from earlier, which I think was the plot device put in place so they didn't all die horribly. But the cool thing right at the end of the book is Tyr is just wailing on Galakron with a giant hammer. He's just like smashing him in the face with this hammer and just knocking him all around the place. He sort of grabs him by his wing and he's beating him with a hammer. But then Galakron bites Tyr's hand. So me and Necro sort of like were talking about this before the show. Tyr's hand, maybe there is some significance because he got bit off by Galakron, and maybe that's why it's a thing. It was also implied that Galakron ate the Titan artifact. That's how I sort of got it. That's how I interpreted what I read. So basically the book ended with Tyr being disarmed. His hammer's gone, and so is his hand. And the dragons are sort of carrying him to safety. It takes Malagos and Ysera and Alexstrasza to carry him to safety, and Galakron just starts glowing and growing and just being weird. Something's happening. He's clearly not in his final form yet. And with that Dragon Ball Z reference, that is what happens in this book. As I said, if you read one, like you'll have one event, like Tyr gets his hand bit off. But if you read all of them, it'd be slightly better.
Fair enough.
But I think next one, next one's the last one, so I'm hoping it sort of ties everything up in a neat bow and doesn't leave us with more questions than we had in the first place. But then I have the feeling it will, because I like that they put Tyr in, but were any of us really wondering what life was like when Galakron was alive?
Oh yeah. It keeps me up at night.
Not necessarily, no, but it is nice to sort of get some of that.
Well, once I get book 5 read and I know what happens, I'll be fine. But at the moment, like from like book 2, we're like, now there's zombies. Why? What? And it took us a while. We still don't know why Galakron can vomit up zombies. So at the moment, I have more questions than answers.
Well, that's something that hopefully we'll find out, in book 5. Hopefully all these things will kind of come together, but, they could pull a Lost and just be like, never mind, everyone was already dead.
And then it was a dream.
Yeah, so...
It was a dream it's a dream that Caligos has on his wedding night, because he's marrying Jaina. at the World Tree, and Goel will be there.
Can I make a prediction of what I think is going to happen? Because I read the summary too.
Yes,
let's try and do this. Let's do that. Starting with Necro, what do you think is gonna? What do you think the end of this book is?
Okay, so Dunn covered everything, but he missed one thing. The reason that Tyr said he was uploading their data, he said something cryptic like "for the future" or like "for the safety of the future" or something.
Yes, he
so
did say
my
that.
theory. Yep. So my theory is he has scanned all 5 of the future would-be aspects at this point.
Okay.
My theory is that all of the Proto-Drake aspects are going to get killed at the end. But the Titans already have their data. And that's why when they're remade, because the Titans need the Guardians, that's why they're not Proto-Drakes and that's why they're dragons. And that's also why I also think a large portion of the Proto-Drakes are just going to all die during the last part. That's why there are barely any left in the current game. There's only a couple that the whatever they're called are using. So that's what I think is going to happen.
The Argent Crusade.
No, the big guys in Northrend who ride them. I forgot what their names are. The race of the guys that would become human. The Vicrul, yeah.
The Verkul.
That's my prediction.
The Vicrul.
Yes.
The Viking men.
Yes. The Swedes. Done.
Yes.
What do you think? How do you think it's all gonna end?
Well, I just had a thought. Just as Necro said, that I forgot to mention that line where Tyr says, "Saving it for the future." Malagos responded, "Galakron is the future," and Galakron is So his limbs are growing longer, and he is growing bigger. And proto dragon arms are sort of like nipples anyway. So I'm thinking, but like expanding on Necro's thought, maybe the shape of what we know as a dragon was stolen from Galakrond, and that is what Galakrond is shaping into, and that is why he's called the Father of Dragons, because he is the design.
Didn't he eat the artifact you said? So that couldn't make sense.
He did. Maybe that's why he's glowing and stretching.
Maybe the artifact's trying to like cleanse whatever old god badness or whatever that is doing to him.
It's probably Agwin. It's probably Agwin's fault. People will understand that nearer the end of the show, but it's probably Agwin. No, but yeah, I think maybe that is why Galakrond is the Father of Dragons, because he is in a sense, it was a mistake, it was an accident, but he is the first what we call a dragon, that sort of shape.
That's true. That's true.
Maybe, or I could be wrong, but if it's right, you heard it here first.
I don't know. Jan, do you have any thoughts?
I think Jane is going to pull a Deus Ex Machina and make all of the proto-drakes turn into dragons.
Howie?
Jaina is actually Tyr. You heard it here first.
Okay. No.
Yeah, I don't have any thoughts either.
I know
I don't.
Rioris is.
My-
I'm sure Rioris is having a nap, but the whole book series was put into your minds by the old gods.
Mm.
This book
Wow.
series.
That's my theory, you
I'm usually-
bastards.
I'm not sure if you're on the same page here, Pride, but I know me and you usually like the books. This one just is not doing it.
Not doing
I
it for
don't
me.
know. I mean, even
Um,
when I hear it, I'm just like, I don't care about any of these things.
Yeah, there's just nothing big going on. There's nothing major. There's nothing game changing or game breaking so far. There are things that kind of make you question a couple of things, but overall, there's nothing new here. There's nothing like so just awesome about it that it changes your perspective or changes your beliefs on a certain aspect of the game world. Hopefully,
which is
book
why
5.
it said it's like it might be giving us answers to questions, but I don't believe it's questions that anyone ever asked.
Right.
We don't care
and-
about the dragons anymore. That's the problem.
And there was so much, they put so much into this whole series before it came out. They were talking about how we're going to get, the answers to what happened between the Titans and the Old Gods. No, we're not. We haven't heard anything really about that at this point.
I say we've
Book 5.
got no Titan-related things, really, except for
Tyr
barely
is there.
anything.
Tyr is there.
Tyr
He's
is there, but I mean, we're not learning anything about the Titans in general. We just know he's there.
No, we have the only thing that we've learned is there are watchers, but they grew tired of watching, and then I grew tired of watching, and then Galakrond happened. So now I will sort the problem.
And then I got tired of reading at that point.
Right. So hopefully book 5 will, pull out some major new stuff for us to kind of dive into and talk about.
Well,
But go ahead.
I was just gonna say, well, it kind of has to because the aspects got charged by like the main members of the Pantheon, so they have to show up at some point.
Right,
Unless they're
exactly.
retconning the whole thing.
Right. So I don't know. With that said, though, we need to head over to a break. I know that Rioris has a video that we're gonna play, and I just want to warn you guys that some of the images and an audio that you're gonna see and hear in the video might be a little disturbing. So if you start to see it and don't want to watch it, it's only about a minute and a half long. So just turn your head and cover your ears and
go to the bathroom. That's what I'm going to do.
Some of you younger viewers, I maybe would go get something to drink or eat or something. But in the meantime, we're gonna head to a break and all that good stuff. So, Rioris, our lovely producer, take us out. When we get back, we'll be talking about patch 5.3 and some other awesome things. So, Rioris, take us out, man.
All right, Gary, I'm on South Pennsylvania here. Look at the tornado now. Take our stream. It'll be slightly delayed. This is going to be an EF2. It's going to be about 200 yards wide. It is the tornado sirens are blaring out here. The tornado got larger. See violent rotation around this tornado. This is a deadly thing, Gary.
We're inside it! We're in it right now. Okay, well, no, drop down! Stop! Drop it down!
That's where it crossed I-35. There are cars there, there are MC units there, there are police there. Look at it. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I don't know if people lived in that one. I honestly do not know if people lived in that.
Want to stay up to date with all the latest happenings around the Smoking Gamer and its crew? Well, be sure to follow us on our various social media platforms, including Facebook at facebook.com/TSGamer, twitter.com/Pride1G, or simply at Pride1G. You can also check us out on a Nook at anook.com/page/TSGamer. And of course, you can always come and join the fun over at www.knightsoflore.com.
But are we?
I think we're back, but Pride's
We
not
are
talking.
back, but I was waiting
Are
for
we?
Pride to say
Oh,
something.
Riors didn't tell me we were back. Apparently we're back right here on Wait This Lore on North Star Radio, or not North Star Radio, on youtube.com/The Smoking Gamer. I am Pride, joined by Necroxus, Jan, Dunn, Howitzer. Of course, we've got Riors here in the production booth. So,
Pride, show them your shirt and tell them where they can get
oh,
one.
right, yes. So let me. I don't know where my face is at and stuff on the thing, but I'll try and keep it in there. You see the shirt? I'm gonna like go up and down because they can get the full.
Because that's how the ladies like it.
Indeed. So yeah, you can purchase that shirt and many others, including the official But Wait There's Lore shirt on printonblack.co.uk. Just check out the Smoking Gamer section of Print on Black, and shirts are like $10, couple extra dollars for shipping. Not too bad for the quality of shirt, and this isn't the cheap shit you get from Cafe Press and all that other shit that people use. This is legitimate T-shirts with actual fucking graphics and whatnot. I don't know. Dunn can tell you more about the actual process that he does to make the shirts.
If you are genuinely interested in the process on how I make the shirts, there are videos on the website that show how I do it. And if you want to know the thought behind the designs, you can talk to Pride, because he did them all.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, I guess now we're going to hand it over to Necro and Jan a little bit here. I guess more Necro than Jan, but
Yeah.
5.3, of course, hopped off the PTR and dropped last Tuesday, I believe, on the 21st, right? 21st, 22nd, somewhere in there?
Yep.
Yep.
So, yeah. Go ahead, Necro. Tell us about what's been going on in the actual game, because you're one of the few that still plays it.
All right, so the patch is officially called Escalation, which is very appropriate. Basically, it's the build-up to the Siege of Orgrimmar. That's the whole shtick of the patch. Vol'jin has returned from Pandaria to Durotar, and he is making the rebellion go full steam. Simultaneously, the Alliance is preparing to attack Orgrimmar from the sea, and eventually the rebellion and the Alliance work together because they have a common enemy. There have been some changes in Durotar, but only if you haven't done the chain. There is a phased part where all of Razor Hill is controlled by Garash's Korkron Guard. And as the Horde, you go through and you liberate that's the first major victory, I guess you could call, for the Rebellion, when they push and they go take Razor Hill. But the main action is in the Barrens, and if you're playing in the game right now, you will see there are a lot of changes in the Barrens. Blizzard apparently has new technology that allows them to phase just the end game level content for players. So if you're a low B leveling through the Barrens, it'll look exactly the same as before this patch, but if you're 90, it'll be completely changed. There are towers all over the place. The towers like you see in Orgrimmar with the dark iron and the badass look, they're all over the place now. Garrosh has goblins who are mining all over the area for oil and stone and wood, and they're harvesting meat from various animals. The Rebellion is making like tactical strikes. The Alliance is making tactical strikes. The Alliance is sending caravans north to Ashenvale to give supplies. I guess that part didn't make sense to me because we're supposed to be giving us supplies to Vol'jin to help him. But there is a part where you escort an Alliance supply vehicle just to Ashenvale. So I guess we are getting something out of it. The Horde is sending theirs to Durotar, or the Rebellion is sending theirs to Durotar. Garrosh is trying to keep control of what's going on, and it's not working. If you go into Orgrimmar, you will see the Valley of the Spirits, which is mainly the Troll District. It's completely locked down. There's no trade going on. The auction house doesn't work. The vendors don't do anything. The trainers won't teach you anything. The only person who will even talk to you is the innkeeper, and that's only because you can set your hearthstone there. So that's not really a lore thing. There are dark spirituals getting executed all over Orgrimmar and right outside the front gates. Basically, outside of Orgrimmar itself, there are tons and tons of forces, more than I thought Garrosh had. He has like a bajillion demolishers.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. At this point, the Bilgewater goblins have basically left the Horde and have joined the Rebellion too. But there are goblins there. They are implied to be hired Steamweedle Cartel goblins who are just joined up for the money because, like the Steamweedle Cartel, they don't care. They play both sides for profit.
But I'm hated by that faction.
I am too.
Pirates.
So, if you're an Alliance player, you actually take a portal from your shrine to Ratchet, and if you're hated by them like me, you port in and you get killed right away because the guards will murder you.
Nice.
So yeah, if you see my video on the PTR, I have a video of me doing it, and I port through and I just die immediately. So that's if you're hated by them, just beware. But other than that,
if I may for just a second, I just realized two things. The raid will be called, the community is going to call the raid Sue. It's like, hey guys, let's go raid Sue. And that's my mom's name, so I'm not sure if I'm very comfortable with that. And secondly, it's not really a siege.
What do you mean?
Well, a siege would imply that the Alliance and the Rebellion just sat outside Orgrimmar and cut off supplies. What is actually happening is an assault from two fronts. That's not a siege.
A siege is when you take over.
But now I understand an American company getting it wrong because of a lack of castles and history.
A siege is when you take over a building.
No, it isn't. No, a siege is a very specific type of warfare where you cut off their supplies and
if you
force them to
siege
surrender.
against a city, you are implying that you're either ramming down, using ladders to get over the walls. You're sieging the city.
That's not a siege.
It comes from the word seize, as in seizing.
To besiege
I know, but it's still
and
called a
to
siege.
siege.
I mean, it's all the same thing.
I
Sitting
disagree.
outside is
Sitting
part of a
outside-
siege. That's a different tactic of a siege, but you're still sieging the
That is
city.
the siege. That is the siege.
Well, interestingly enough, on this topic, we have now been confirmed that the raid doesn't take place just in Orgrimmar. Blizzard has said that there's going to be different locations, and it's going to be as big as Throne of Thunder, which has 13 bosses.
So what that means is it will take place outside the gates of Orgrimmar, and then we will fight XT. And then, then we fight Flame Leviathan, and then the doors open, and then we fight XT.
Well, the way they worded it was like it doesn't take place just around Orgrimmar. So I would assume that meant outside the gates as well. If I had to guess, I mean, they could probably do something like the beginning of the raid for each faction starts at wherever they're starting, and then they just push in. Because they have obviously no qualms with Dragon Soul, like porting the player around as they progress through the raid. So that's basically all of like the world changes. There are also things going on behind the scenes. I talked briefly about it in the last episode, but for example, before you even start this quest chain, you have to do 2 scenarios. One is for the Dark Iron Dwarves and the Alliance. It's called Blood in the Snow. Basically, a single Zandalari.
Scenarios.
Yeah. Well, you know what? In all fairness, I don't like the very first groups of scenarios, but these ones in 5.3 are actually really fun and really good, and it does have a lot of pretty decent amount of lore for a scenario. So,
hold on. Can I make a point real quick?
Yeah.
That I'm watching like the stream, and you, and a lot of people I think are gonna like say this is bullshit, but I've met him in real life several times. You look a lot like Jesse Cox.
You do a bit. You're actually thinking about it.
Yeah.
Not colour hair, but like your mannerisms are quite similar as well. Actually, thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm very vocal when I speak with my hands, and we have kind of the same body type. So,
yeah.
Thank you. Is that a compliment? Thank you.
Start calling people like, I know, underground moths.
The underground moths.
The opposite of the space butterfly.
Yeah, I got
Talking
that.
about space butterfly, you can go to printonblack.co.uk. You can go to the what the one moderately funny gamer constantly called. I can't remember what his backronym is, but go there and you space butterfly hoodie. Hashtag.
That was a nice plug.
Anyways,
good job.
Back to 4.3. I'm sorry. 5.3. I'm sorry.
No, it's totally fine. So basically, before you start any of this quest, because this actually takes place in the latter half of the story, you have to do 2 scenarios. The first one is with the Alliance, and basically the story is it takes place in Dunmorrow, and the story is that one agent of the Zandalari has infiltrated and basically rallied the Frostmane trolls, who apparently they're still a thing in that area, even though we've been murdering them for like 9 years now. But they're still a thing, so Varian goes to Ironforge and he's like, yo guys, there's kind of a problem brewing right outside of your city, and the Bronzebeards and the Wildhammers are like, well, we can't do anything about it because then the Dark Irons will take over. And so Moira's like, well, you're both stupid, so I'll help you, Varian. So Moira and her Dark Irons and Varian go and they deal with the Zandalari. That's basically, if I had to guess, the dwarf part of the Trials of the High King, at least the compensation version that we got. So now after this whole thing, the Dark Irons are basically, if they were even considered a rebel faction within the Alliance, which I don't even think they were, they're now completely reined in. That's basically the culmination of that scenario. The Dark Irons are completely with the Alliance now.
So now we have all the dwarves.
Yeah. Even Moira, she goes under...
You don't have the Iron Dwarves.
The Iron Dwarves?
Iron Dwarves up in Stone Peaks.
Oh, that's true, but they're doing their own thing. They don't care.
They're the best dwarves, they're like robots.
Oh, well, they don't even count. They're not flesh yet.
Yep.
That's, matterist. I'm so distracted by the
materialistic. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, because it's like racism, but it's not, because the issue is the elements that make up their body.
Mm.
Guinea pigs.
Yeah, there's no word for it, so it doesn't.
Yeah, that's
count.
why I went with matterists for lack of.
Mm-hmm.
Very well.
All right, so the Horde version of the scenario that they do is called the Dark Heart of Pandaria. Basically, Garrosh has sent goblins all over Pandaria trying to find something. We don't know what he's looking for, but he's looking for something. And he ends up finding this something in the Vale of the Eternal Blossoms, which is kind of a sacred place to the Pandaren and something that comes up later. So basically, the goblins are just strip mining a big portion of the Vale, and they find this artifact in this hall. It ends up being the heart of Yisharaj, the dead old god, who was killed by the Titans and is responsible for the Shah. So basically, from that, you can figure out a couple of things. We were always wondering what the Mogu were doing, because we know they were servants of the Titans. And before 5.3, we didn't know what they were, why they were in the Vale, why were they there. I'm pretty sure it's safe to assume they were guarding this. Like, their initial purpose was to make sure nobody got their hands on the heart of Yisharaj, because even a goblin accidentally like steps under it and he transforms into like this gigantic possessed being that you have to fight. He's the last boss of it. So I think we can say that happens there. So basically, at the end of this, you're working as a Bilgewater Goblin, and at the end, Malkorok comes in, and he's basically like, yeah, this is what we wanted. Malkorok, by the way, is the leader of the Korkron. He's trying. The Goblins trying to get their money from them because they completed their task. Malkorok refuses to give them all of it because some of their guys have died, and the Goblins get pissed, and that's the beginning of them leaving. Because the representative basically says, well, let's see where Garrosh is when he needs our help. We're not going to be there. And so that's the end of that. But there's a repercussion to that in the game. If you're Horde, go to your shrine after you complete this. You will see a scene between Terran Zoo, who is the leader of the Shadowpan, and Sunwalker Dezko, who is kind of, I guess you could say he's not the leader, but he's the biggest person in the Horde's storyline in Pandaria. And Terran Zoo comes in and says, what have you done? You guys have ruined our Sacred Veil. The Shadowpan's kicking you out. You need to leave. Get out of this area because you've defiled it. Sunwalker Dezko tries to explain that they all don't speak for Garrosh, obviously acknowledging that there are large portions of the Horde who are now leaving. Terran Zoo doesn't give a shit. He just says, because you helped us against the Mogu, I'll give you till the end of the season, but you still need to leave. And that's the end of their story.
This, like, didn't he say, if it wasn't for your help earlier, we'd be killing you all now?
Yes.
Fuck the Shadowpan.
He basically says, if it wasn't for your help, we'd purge the whole shrine.
The Shadowpan.
Shadowpan
just got, like, super awesome.
I seem to recall him saying something very similar to the Horde, like, back in that place with the monkeys.
Jade Forest?
Dude,
That's
he
the
just
place.
says that every chance he gets.
He says it to both factions,
Fuck the
though.
Horde.
He does yell at the Alliance, too. He's like, you guys fucking unleashed the Shah, you idiots. What are you doing?
But that's different.
Alliance, stop.
But that's different. He didn't kick us out. He kicked you out.
That's true.
If we got till the end of the season,
Done. Hey,
and
done. Yeah, you know what?
You
have until the end of the season.
Okay, when's the season? Okay, fine. I'll reclaim my Friday nights. I'll be able to, like, I don't know, go out or something. I don't know. Fuck that.
You mean play more Smite?
I might play. I could play some Smite. Harry, let's play Smite.
That sounds good.
Other than that, there's only one more thing that happens, and then that's basically it for 5.3. There's a scenario that you can do that's not part of the storyline for some reason, but it takes place after the other two. It's called The Secrets of Ragefire, and it takes place beneath Ragefire Chasm in Durotar and Orgrimmar. Basically, the story of it going into is you are part or helping the Gob Squad, who Dunn really likes.
Record are the best squad.
Yeah, they were in the beginning for the Horde in Twilight Highlands. That's where their thing is, their debut.
They also have quests in Ashara.
Oh, okay. So you go in there with them, and you are helping them look for people who have disappeared. I guess the connotation is Garrosh. People who oppose Garrosh are disappearing. So you're trying to find what's going on. You go under there. It's previously an unoccupied section of Ragefire Chasm. Basically, when you go in there, there's a lot of things happening. There's Korkron there. There are all these corrupted elemental, like fire elemental dogs and stuff that you see in the Barrens later on. There are a ton of Proto-Drake eggs, to the fact that, so much so that the goblins are like, holy shit, Garrosh has enough Proto-Drakes to invade anywhere he wants. Right. So this is basically like his storage room. Garrosh has all these things, all these weapons. Yeah.
What? Wait, what?
Yeah. There's a bunch of Proto-Drake eggs underneath. And you actually see Warlord Zayla of the Dragon Maw, like, channeling something into a fully grown one outside of Orgrimmar. So it's safe to assume you're going to see some Proto-Drakes in the final raid. They're going to be Garrosh's flying forces.
So you fight Garrosh, and then when you get him to 50%, he breaks the floor. But then Alexstrasza shows up, right? No, Caligo shows up, and he's like, "Don't worry, friends, I've been back in..." I'm tying the book in, you say, "Don't worry, friends, I've been back in time, and I'm friends with all the Proto-Drakes." And then, like, Proto-Drakes will come, and then it's like, I have Eternity.
That wouldn't be a terribly bad thing to have happen to tie in the books, but...
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Let's revamp Eye of Eternity, the most popular raid ever.
Alright, so basically you see all these things. The goblins are like, well, this is not what we're here for, but this is useful information. And then eventually they find like this this gigantic door that's like has multiple levels of chains, and it's completely steel, and there's magic all over the place. And they're like, we need to get in there because that something is in there, and we want to see what it is. And basically, you use tools that are conveniently all around the area to make this bomb that supposedly is powerful enough to break into any safe or something, because they basically say this bomb is powerful enough to break into Galliwick's personal safe. So it's a very powerful bomb. It explodes at the door.
We could have dropped that on Terramore.
Well, it's a small one. It's like a contained, like small explosion meant to open a hole.
Okay, goblins don't do small or contained.
Well, it's like a super powerful, but it's tiny. Like that's the whole thing. And when it blows up, nothing. There's no damage at all. So as the explosion happens, the Corcoran come pouring in because they hear this, and the goblins are like, "Well, we have to bail. We have to get out of here. We have to tell Vol'jin about all of these things," which is why I think it takes place after the other two, because now the Bilgewater are reporting directly to Vol'jin. So you fight these Corcoran, you guard the Gob Squad as they make this teleporter, and then it ends with you fighting like a mini boss, and then you port out while there are Corcorans like streaming in, and that's the end of that. So it's kind of like, what's behind that door? I guess we'll find out in 5.4, because it's obviously I mean, this is like the first expansion where Blizzard's foreshadowing, but they're not really doing it subtly. So it's pretty obvious whatever's behind there is going to be in the raid.
So therefore, Illidan is coming back next expansion. Now hear me out, because in the monk training area, there is a monk trainer who's like, I wish I was a demon hunter.
Is it really? Or are you just making this up?
No, for real. There's a gnome. I think it's a gnome monk in the, like, you can talk to all the monks in like the monk area that you use your like meditation teleport spell, where you get the double XP buff, which was overpowered as hell. And you go get that, and there's I'm sure there's a gnome, and he's like, I wish I was a demon hunter. For shadowing.
They're just pandering to people right now, trying to get them excited.
They're just pandering to Pride right now.
Pretty much.
When it's announced, like, Warcraft like subscribers will go up like thousands, but it's all Pride.
Hundreds of thousands of accounts.
All like multi-boxing, like just all like thousands of level 1 gnome demon hunters.
Hell yeah, dude.
That's basically it. There is one more thing that's kind of small. After you do all of this, you are sent by Chen Stormstout back to Pandaria, because he's basically like, oh, when I was in Pandaria, I found this old seer, and we should consult him to see how we can deal with Garrosh using Pandarian weaponry on Azeroth. So you go there, you help this old seer up the mountain. As you're helping him up there, he's very obviously... It's so obvious what's going on. He's talking about the various Shah. He's like, at first this task would have made me angry, but now I've purged my anger. At first I would have been afraid to come up this high, but now I have no fear. So you get to the very top, and he's like, I haven't been truthful to you. I am an old man now, but previously in the past, he begins like fading away, and then he goes, I was the Emperor. And then like the Emperor appears, Xiaohao, and he begins explaining how all of the Pandaren think that when the mists went around the continent, it was a good thing. They think that it helped them stave off the Burning Legion invasion. Xiaohao goes, no, that was actually my pride thinking we were better than everybody else. And that was the one Shah that I'd never purged, the Shah of Pride. And he warns us and says the Shah of Pride is the worst one out of all of them, because we think it's good at first until it just totally screws everything up.
Is it bad that I pictured you with like one of them Chinese straw hats on and like Chinese robe-like things, talking with the finger? And
I'm very like animated when I speak.
But I
so
sort
that's
of
basically
heard,
it.
Like, I mean, you sort of sounded like, I sort of processed it like you sounding like Lord Walker Cho.
I was doing a little in video roleplay right there. That was for you guys. So that's basically it. He says the 7th Shah is a Shah of Pride, and I never purged it. So obviously, more foreshadowing that's not subtle at all. Shah of Pride's coming in 5.4. Get ready for it.
What?
That's basically it.
Spoilers.
All you guys had to do was just ask me.
Didn't you tell us, like... I remember you excitedly tweeted as soon as like it was leaked. You're like, I am the last Shah.
Mm-hmm.
and then the IRC back at the time was like, Shah of Necros fired, and Shah of
It was.
Shah of kill Rioris because he's a brony, and
Yeah, I mean that's why I missed so many episodes last season was because I had
of course you were
meetings with
voice
the other
acting.
shows. Yeah.
So that's the whole story of 5.3.
I am
Everything.
destroying
Covered
all
it.
worlds right now.
Do you use massive attack for 6 million points of damage?
No, I use super ultimate attack for 9 million damage. I don't think that Necro or Jan know what the fuck we are talking about right now.
9,000
No,
damage. We don't know what you're talking about.
No.
Oh no, that of course everyone has read like the chat logs, but
You don't
recording.
remember? Do you remember Coffee with Sargeras, the blog from 10 years ago?
No, I thought you were making a Dragon Ball Z reference. I'm sorry.
No.
It
Not
may
at
be
all.
a Dragon Ball Z reference
It might
when
be.
it was originally written.
No.
You've
never. So.
for you because it's like a must read.
Well, no, but now it's a must listen to because
Yeah,
me
but
and
you only get
and
episode
Jesse-
1 that way.
That's true. I see. I still need to go back and be like, yo, we should all get together and do the other ones. Again.
You should.
We should.
It was
I'll talk to TV about it.
TB. I don't see
will.
TB going for it.
No, he won't go. He's been asked a dozen times, and he's like, no, I don't want to.
Actually, I imagine that conversation. It's like, John, can you let's record the other ones, and TB will look at you and just sneer, and then you'll explode.
That's 5.3. Ta-da! Jan, did I miss anything, Jan? I know you played it, so tell me if I missed anything.
Hold on. Apparently someone has this way backwards here. Dome Hammer says, so the source of the Shah is grape soda. And if he is referencing what I've been drinking, good sir, that is not grape soda. That would be the Walmart brand of Dr. Pepper called Dr. Thunder. That I've been enjoying.
Do you feel like they missed an opportunity to spell thunder with an A and a H at the end instead of an E and an R?
Well, no,
Thunder.
because this is the greatest bit. This is the Walmart brand of root beer. It's called, root beer.
What?
Try out
but
root beer brand. Root beer.
Look, no, hold on, look, real talk. Real talk. 68 cents, man. 68 cents for a 2 liter. Let's be honest here.
I usually agree, except for cola. Cola doesn't taste the same for me. Cheaper.
Well, I don't like Coke anyway, so like Coca-Cola, it's disgusting. I'd rather drink Pepsi. But regardless of that,
on that note, I miss vanilla Pepsi.
I miss vanilla Coke. I actually did enjoy vanilla Coke.
Vanilla Coke's back.
You can still buy all that stuff.
I can't buy any. Well, there you probably can. There's a place down here in Arcadia, Oklahoma. It's called Pops, and they have like 5,000 different flavors of soda.
I meant at the grocery store.
Pride. They sell
What?
vanilla Coke in Walmart.
No, they don't. Not in my
Yes, it-
Walmart. I
Well,
work there.
your Walmart's bad, and it should feel
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's just not very popular in my area. Who knows? Anyways, we
Break, maybe.
I don't know. Are we done? Are we done talking about?
I'm done.
We are about the
I
hour
think
mark.
so.
That's everything.
Well, there we go. All right, so we're gonna go on break, guys. When we get back, top 10, plus a Howie retcons the lore. Stay tuned right here on YouTube.com/The Smoking Gamer, and this is we'll be right back. Rioris, I almost called Rioris Snapple. Take us out. Want to stay up to date with all the latest happenings around the Smoking Gamer and its crew? Well, be sure to follow us on our various social media platforms, including Facebook at facebook.com/TSGamer, Twitter.com/Pride1G, or simply @Pride1G, You can also check us out on a Nook at anook.com/page/TSGamer. And of course, you can always come and join the fun over at www.knightsoflore.com.
All right, Gary, I'm on South Pennsylvania here. Look at the tornado now. Take our stream. It'll be slightly delayed. This is going to be an EF2. It's going to be about 200 yards wide. It is the tornado sirens are blaring out here. The tornado got larger. See violent rotation around this tornado. This is a deadly thing, Gary.
We're inside it! We're in it, guys. We're in it right now. Okay, now drop down! Stop! 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 Drop it down!
That's where it crossed I-35. There are cars there, there are MC units there, there are police there. Look at it. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I don't know if people lived in that one. I honestly do not know if people lived in that.
We're coming back now.
Oh, we're back now?
Then, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Wait There's Lore right here on youtube.com/Smokey as I pour more Dr. Thunder into my cup.
Pride, just because we haven't said who is receiving IRC questions today.
Oh.
I've already received some.
Okay, well,
So
you can send them to Dunn. What name are you using in
today? Today, it's me, MPD.
It's me, MPD. Send your IRC questions to It's Me, MPD in the IRC. All other listeners, whether you're listening and not in the IRC, or if you were listening to the archive on YouTube, then you'll want to send an email to lore@omfg.fm. Now then, I do want to go ahead and say, before we get into this top 10 list, that we had some subscribers to But Wait There's Lore help us out in the creation of this list, this top 10 list, and we want to expand on that. So, all subscribers, or well, not all, because then we'll get like ridiculous amounts, but we're basically going to have a random draw from the subscriber pool, where you will be invited into the voting for the top 10 lists, if you would like, and we'll pick like 2 or 3 people each week we do this, and we'll try and spread it out so we don't pick the same people. Of course, so basically what I'm saying is that the subscribers to Wait There's Lore and all that stuff are going to be able to help us, make the show, or make our top 10 list for the show. This is one of our favorite things that we did last week, so we're bringing it back, and it'll probably be here for the remainder of the season, because why not? I do want to say that my little sister has just barged into my room, so, Dunn, can you maybe tell them a little bit about the subscription while I go take care of this real quick?
Yes, yes. No, I can't remember how much it is.
Nice way to go.
No, I can tell you if you are a subscriber, you get access to a super secret subscriber-only section of the forums on knightsoflore.com. I almost said .co.uk there. I also know it gives you access to all the MP3s of everything that we've ever done, ever, including the Inquisitors and But Where There's Law, Diablo, or Diablo, if you will, is, I believe, the joke that we used back at the time. I believe there was some talk of the video archives going up so you can put it on your iPad Touch and watch it in video or something, I think. But I can't remember how much it is.
It is $1.99 a month recurring. That's how much it is.
That's how much it is.
Yeah. And I would like to say that all the subscriptions we get for this month are going to the relief fund for the tornado victims.
That is a thing that is happening.
Yeah, indeed.
I obviously could not tell you that you, the listeners, because I did not know that. Because no one tells me anything.
Apparently there are 2 Bubbas. According to my little sister, there are now 2 Bubbas, because she can see me on the screen. Are there 2 Bubbas? Mm-hmm. Where's Mama? Why did she leave you in here? She's shy now.
Pride,
Anyways.
you are aware now that Lore Sister is going to be a thing.
Lore Sister? Yeah, so while I go take care of this, like I said, it's $1.99. I hope I don't have number 10. Do I have number 10 on the top 10?
I have number 10.
Okay. Well then, for the top 10 list, guys, we are doing the top 10 most influential women in like all of Azeroth. So I guess we're gonna start out with number 10. Or Dunn is gonna start us out with number 10, which is gonna be. Well, tell us who it is, Dunn.
It is Magatha Grim Totem or Necro. How does she prefer to say her name?
Magatha.
I still don't think that's right.
She says it in Thousand Needles quest chain at the end. She calls herself Magatha.
It sounds far too Lion King-y to me. Do you not get that vibe?
I don't.
But anyway,
maybe she is killing a lot of people.
Magatha. Really, there's one real ordeal that she set into place, which is how she's influenced the World of Warcraft, and that is, of course, assisting in the assassination of that Tauren dude whose name I always forget.
Karen.
Him. I don't know why. I know the letters of it, I just forget the pronunciation of it every time. So Bane's father was, of course, wounded by Garrosh in the Matgora. I remember that word now. And yes, I've got it. Because orcs are a democracy. Democracy. Hashtag democracy. Anyway, no. She poisoned Garrosh's axe, Gorehowl. Garrosh did not know this, and I don't actually... It's not common knowledge, because if it was, no one would respect Garrosh, and everyone respects Garrosh. Oh...
Well, people know about it.
Yeah,
people also know Garrosh got taken advantage of, though.
It's not like common knowledge, because if it was common knowledge, we'd have the rebellion way sooner than.
Well, all of the
Tauren
know about it, at least.
Well, I don't think they do.
Well, Magatha's forces took over Thunderbluff, so.
Yeah, but they don't know that. They just know that Magatha. Oh, you've got me. Magatha acted on the power vacuum. She didn't. I don't think it's common knowledge that Magath poisoned Garrosh's axe, because if that got out, all the orcs would be all like, "Yo, I'm gonna vote," because that's how that happens. But yeah, that one axe, well, 2 axes, I guess, poisoning Gorehowl and then taking over Thunderbluff, in a large way shaped the Horde as to what it was during the Cataclysm and onwards. And that's her real mark on the World of Warcraft. That is how she's known by the common people. This is how I did my scores. I said, what would the common people think? Because we as players, we know everything. We can look up everything on our Wikipedias and game boss quotes and etc. So yeah, I took it. I thought of the common man and what do they think and what are they influenced by, and I feel that Magatha doing what she did is influential enough to the common man to make it on this top 10.
I disagree, but that's all right. Moving on to number 9. Number 9 on the top 10 list of most influential women in the Warcraft universe comes down to Tyrande Whisperwind. Now, Tyrande, or Tyrande, or however the hell you want to say it. I say Tyrande because it's, I was told to me. She probably deserves to be on this list best because obviously she released Illidan from prison, which I would say definitely influenced the World of Warcraft in very significant ways. Number one, you had almost an entire expansion based around him, but strictly lore-wise, you've got a very powerful mage who has lived a really long time, who comes back into the world after being away for 10,000 years, and ever since he got back, was a major player in all the various politics and all the various wars and other things that were fought since that time, all the way up into leaving Azeroth, going out to Outland and all that good stuff. So, Tyrande, of course, the lore of Tyrande is that she was a priest. She's a priestess of Elune. That's pretty much what she's done her entire life. Kind of devoted her life to it. Ended up marrying Malfuria and Stormrage, and together they more or less control the entirety of the Night Elven population. Basically, ever since the War of the Ancients, she's been sort of the leader of the Night Elves, which I think is quite significant considering everything that they've been a part of in the entire history of Warcraft, not just the latest history in the world of Warcraft. So,
I have a question before I move on.
Yes, go ahead.
Now, so Tyrande set Illidan free.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is her doing that? Does she get some of the influence points for things he does because she was the one who started him on for releasing him? Does she get? She obviously didn't do those things, but she let him out. She was the impetus for everything he does.
Right, but it's not only that, but he did a lot of the things that he did for her. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, because he was absolutely...
Necro, and therein lies the difference.
No, you're still wrong. You're still wrong. We'll get to it.
So
we'll
I
get
would
to it.
say... I would say that her releasing him, even if he wasn't doing things for her because he was in love with her, I would say that her releasing him is a direct byproduct of that. So everything he does is a direct byproduct of her releasing him from prison. So yes, she does get those points.
Well, in that
everyone
case,
watching, remind that for later on.
Yeah, remember that
remember that fact for later on.
In that case, it's all Ashara's fault.
Shh. We're gonna head over and let Jan actually say something on this episode. Janelle, tell us about the 8th most influential woman in the Warcraft universe.
Onyxia. Was. I get a little confused with patches and when people officially die. The brood mother. Well, she died twice, so give me a break. The broodmother for the Black Dragon Flight, she was important because she basically influenced alliance politics for so long. She weakened the areas of Red Ridge, Westfall, Lakeshire, Darkshire by convincing Bolvar, or rather controlling Bolvar, into not sending reinforcements to those areas. She also managed to kidnap King Varian Rin, strengthen the Defias, get the Defias created into the Defias by kicking the stonemasons out of Stormwind and not paying them for all their hard work. And
No, do go on. But I need to interject once you're finished. Something was just...
I am interjecting you to tell you that I need to interject.
Interject later, yeah.
It's how we do it, it's polite.
Is it?
I would say she also probably had some kind of influence over Anduin, though, I mean, not like directly, but indirectly, though they've never gone into that, because she was his guardian for, what was that, 3 years? Something like that.
Yeah. Quite a while.
Yeah. So mostly her influence is on the Alliance side, but everything she did would have affected Alliance policies towards the Horde.
Indeed.
What was just brought to my attention in the IRC, and I didn't even remember this, but Tyrande should be higher because she got Illidan to release Brassigar.
Indeed, and let me take a look at what you.
I'm glad we're saying that now.
I mean, what did you give her done? Oh, that's right. You put her at the bottom of the list.
Yeah, because the people, for the longest time, like, Tyrande can do whatever she wants. The people didn't know what a night elf is. We can talk about this later, can't we?
Yes, we can talk about this later. In the meantime, who has number 7 here? Let me take a look.
That would be me.
That would be Howitzer. Howitzer, who is the 7th most influential female in the entirety of the Warcraft universe?
That would be Sarah. Fact. Also, if you notice, my outfit today is in coordinates with her, sporting the green.
Indeed.
I'm a big Ysera fan, you know? She's just the best.
In homage.
Yeah. It's amazing how much I know about what she's done that was so influential to get on this list.
I mean, basically, she called Galacron a bitch.
She really did.
Well, now she did. Now she did, but when we made the list, I was confused. Yeah, so, basically, I mean, what she really comes down to are a couple important things, which is Protector of the Emerald Dream, which has been attacked. You know, if it wasn't for her, the Nightmare would have taken it over, threatened all Druidism. And in fact, speaking of Druidism, you can say she's pretty much responsible for it because she's basically the, not exactly the mother of Cenarius, but the, I don't know what the phrase I'm thinking of is for it. Do you guys know what it is? I mean, it's not the mother, but it's like, can't think of it.
Adoptive mother.
Adoptive mother, yeah.
Because
that makes
Cenarius is...
Cenarius is her student.
Yeah, but but like, Malorn banged Elune and Ysera is how I remember it. I'm not sure if that's right, but it is...
Wait, what?
Is that not...
What?
Malorn had sexual relations with Elune and outpopped Cenarius.
And then he and then there was a messy divorce. And Ysera is Cenarius' stepmother. Is that not how it went?
No, Ysera basically raised Cenarius because
stepmother, messy divorce.
Without her,
that's what I said.
There wouldn't be druids or really an Emerald Dream at this point.
Right.
Which in turn would have destroyed most of Azeroth. So in a way, I mean, we're using her protection and who she's taught. That's where her influence in the world today comes from. We wouldn't have a lot of what we have today without her.
Indeed. And Cenarius probably would not have turned out to be the demigod that he is without Ysera. And that's pretty important.
And of course, Cenarius.
Shut up. So moving on to number 6. Don, who is the 6th
to number
most
devil.
Influential woman?
To devil number.
Yes, indeed. Who is the 6th most influential woman in the World of Warcraft?
That would be Garona Half-Orcan, who I actually think, from the eyes of the people, is super significant, number 1 level significant. Her assassination of King Lane directly affected the mind state of Varian, who saw it as a child, and that is what influenced his hatred of orcs from that point through to approximately Cataclysm, where he got better and was a wolf man. I'm not saying that Onyxia probably didn't make it any better, but Varian hated orcs even prior to that because of what Gavrona did to his father. True facts.
Varian was always unstable, even without her help. He would have been unstable.
Ever since his wife died.
I will say that...
but his father died before his wife.
I would say that both Angry Smurf and Goel in the IRC are going to be very disappointed in this top 10 list.
Yep.
I like this top 10 list.
Oh, of course you do.
Top 10 list. This is terrible top 10 list.
I
Anyways.
came up with it.
Moving on. Necro. Who is the 5th most influential female woman? Who is the 5th most influential woman in the Warcraft universe?
Number 5, the most influential, is the Dragon Queen, the aspect of life. Her name is Alexstrasza. She's done like so many things. I guess she provided red dragons to the Horde during the Second War, albeit against her will. She basically spearheaded the fight against Malygos in Wrath of the Lich King, and is directly responsible for his death. She is like the lead dragon in Cataclysm, who's standing against Deathwing. Sure, they all are involved, but the Red Dragon flight takes center stage, led by Alexstrasza. Something people might not think of, her fire, when it breathed on Bolvar, made him survive the Wrathgate event, which led to him becoming the Lich King. So you could say she had some part in that.
Uh-huh.
There's I think that's most of the major ones. Am I missing any?
Well, just the fact that she's been involved in pretty much everything that's ever happened.
Yeah, she's the most active dragon aspect.
Right. She's the one that comes forth and deals with the mortal races the most, more than any other dragon aspect for sure.
Yep, because she believes in life as all sacred. So that's her thing.
Bringing it on back. Jan, once again, tell us who is the fourth most influential female in the Warcraft universe.
Jaina Proudmoore. And she's done so much for World of Warcraft. It's just going to be this huge list of minor events that affected bigger events. Like in the first war, how she turned her back on Arthas helped push him over the edge. Then she went and helped Thrall on his quest, helped him meet the Night Elves. They all helped defeat Archimonde.
Archimonde.
Yes.
And then she founded Theramore below Durotar and was, in a way, more influential with Thrall, who went off to do all sorts of crazy nonsense. And even after that, she kept having small parts in things. She helped Varian Wrynn remember his true identity in some comic book.
You don't speak of that comic.
in World of Warcraft. Yes, that's the game we're talking about. In Wrath of
oh shit.
Is it? Yes. In Wrath of the Lich King, she assisted Varian again in the war effort in trying to make peace with the Alliance and Horde so they could, actually go after the bad guys instead of trying to kill each other.
What an idiot.
It's shocking. Who would do that? Eventually, now she's gone on to take over the Kirin Tor and is causing all sorts of shenanigans, making them only alliance and neutral and all leading the war effort on the Thunder Isles. And I don't think she's had any really direct influence in much of anything personally, but she's always seems to have her fingers in everybody's
right. Exactly.
Sounds so dirty.
Plus, I mean, her greatest deal is that, number one, she was in a romantic relationship with Kael'thas, now with Kalecgos, was with Arthas. I mean, all these massive players, she's always kind of like hooked to them. And then you've also got the fact that she was, trained by
Antonidas,
one of the best archmages out there, Antonidas. So.
And then she had Awen as her, I guess, assistant for a long time.
Yeah, Awen as well. So, not too bad at all. Now, before we get into the top three, the bottom three here.
Controversy.
I can't show you yet, but as soon as we get done, and I don't want anyone to argue about anything until we're done with the list. Otherwise, we will be on number 3 for like a year and a half. Okay?
Probably keep us forewarned. Okay.
So listen, let's get through the list, and then we can argue about the list, alright?
My body is ready.
So ready.
Alright, so I will bring us in. Number 3, the third most, according to our panel of experts, some more expert than others, the third most influential female in the history of Warcraft is Egwene, Magna Egwene. She, of course, is like the absolute, probably the greatest mage to ever walk on Azeroth on her own 2 legs without the help of Sargeras. Just want to clarify that. Without the help of Sargeras, she is 100% the most badass epic mage ever in Azerothian history. I'm sure, you could argue Sargeras, a couple other, Kil'jaeden maybe, but as far as we know, everything that we have concrete evidence of, she is the best mage, the top mage in history. So, Egwene has, of course, done many, many, many things, and Necro will add to this list, I'm sure. But she, of course, is the mother of Medivh. She was the last guard, or she's not the last guardian. She was the guardian of Tears Fallen for hundreds of years. She was, she's defeated countless demons, including going face to face with Sargeras. Well, sort of the avatar of Sargeras. Like I said, the basically manipulated Stormwind's mage Neelis Aran into, making love with her and eventually having a child, and manipulated the Council of Tears Fallen to make her child the next guardian and all this other stuff. And while it all seems sort of centered around this one person and not so much influential with the rest of the world, you have to realize that everything that she did directly did affect the rest of the world. She was the line of defense between Azeroth and the demons of the Burning Legion for 800 years or so.
And
So-
that's where we end, and we're happy and no arguments.
That's where we're ending for now.
Covered all
so
the good points.
we are going to move on now to number 2. Howitzer, tell us the second, arguably the second most influential female.
Well, I'm pretty sure there's a number 2 next to her name, so I mean, arguably, is in fact his number 2.
Hey,
Should have been
Arguably-
number 1. Should have been number 1.
let's fight
But,
afterwards,
take-
because I'm
we take
trying
what
hard
we
not to
get.
fight.
What we get, we know when we can. Number 2 is Sylvanas, Windrunner. Now I'm just gonna let everyone soak that in for a second.
I am so surprised.
Stupid.
At first, people were upset, but here's when I come in and I'm gonna ride in on my undead horse and explain why. And maybe some of you will see the undead light. Okay. Sylvanas,
Where's my
not
fist?
only in life, was a ranger, and one of the most recognizably rangers. She came from a very famous family, so already a prominent member of society. Not really anything that she's done really famous yet. Where it comes in is after she's been turned by Arthas, because not only is she able to break the Lich King's will, she also, because she breaks the Lich King's will, saves Azeroth, or at least the Eastern Kingdoms, from the Lich King or the Dreadlord's influence. I mean, come on. She saves the Eastern Kings, because without that, they would have used Lordaeron and maybe used that as a stronghold for the Lich King and the Dreadlords. Then, if we continue on to her saving Eastern Kingdoms, guess where she goes next, because of her passion of hate for the Lich King? She goes to Northrend, where once again we would not be able to take down the Lich King, arguably one of the baddest people in all of Azeroth, without Sylvanas. She is there for every bit of it. You see her in the dungeons leading up to it. Without her, you wouldn't be able to defeat him. And then she sacrifices her life at the end to, of course, she gets it back, but to also help stop the Lich King. Without her, we wouldn't have an entire race of people, the Forsaken. Look what they've done with themselves. If we didn't have her, we wouldn't have that entire race. What would have happened? What would they would have been a military unit for the Lich King. And who knows? I mean, the entire fate of Azeroth might just belong to the Lich King if it wasn't for Sylvanas, and that is why she is number 2.
Arguably, number 2.
There's a number 2 next to her name.
Arguably. I can change that. Anyways, okay, before, because I can already see, Necro, steaming.
That's backwards, but you can't
That
see
is
it. It says Tyrion. Tyrion's the one who's responsible for killing the Lich King. Not Sylvanas.
See, I read that as Tyrion divided by Lich King.
Bitch! Okay, so number 1, Necro, who is the number 1 most influential person in the entirety of Warcraft?
The number 1 most influential person or female in World of Warcraft's lore or Warcraft's lore is Queen Azshara. She was the Highborn Queen during, well, I guess before the War of the Ancients, but she causes the War of the Ancients when she works with Sargeras and the Burning Legion to open a portal to wherever, to the Nether, for them to invade. She is the one who causes all of these things. Multiple factors. Her xenophobia. She hated everyone who wasn't a Highborn. She she thought she was the best. She thought she was so powerful that when Sargeras came, she was the only one that could be with him. In kind of a fan fiction way, she wanted to marry Sargeras. But I think people tend to take that in a different way than it should be. She is so powerful that she thinks she should be with Sargeras. And I mean, she's not exactly wrong. She was a supremely powerful spellcaster. I mean, wasn't her claim to fame the most powerful mortal spellcaster ever? Isn't that still attributed to Ajara? Or is that Awen? Because I thought... Well, whatever. She's still extremely powerful. Basically, her biggest claim to fame is the War of the Ancients, which causes the Sundering. And the Sundering is, as we said last week, was the biggest event that happened to Azeroth.
Well, she also, basically invited the Burning Legion to Azeroth, and that's a big thing.
Yep.
I think that's the most important thing.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And let's not forget, of course, she's responsible for the Dark Portal.
Okay, anyway, she's also the leader of the Naga.
For the Dark Portal.
Yep, she's also the leader of the Naga and all the shenanigans of the Naga. And that's about it. She causes the Sundering. That's her thing. That's her claim to fame.
Yeah. Okay. Now, before we get to the argument and whatnot, Rior, so you set up to do what I asked you to do. Like, can you get that set up really, really quickly? I just want to. Is it ready to go? Awesome. All right. Well, let's go ahead and pop that up. I just want to show you guys real quick. Are you on page 1 or page 2, Rioris? Sheet 2. Okay, so let me go ahead and pop over to sheet 1 if you can. Is that possible? Okay. So obviously, if you're looking at this, you see that there are some votes and whatnot. And I just want to go ahead and show you guys the way this is all kind of broken down. So if you don't agree with the list, I mean, many of us don't agree with the list either. We started out with 25 females overall, which I brought up collectively with some other people. You can see in the green, those are the top 10, and then in the orange, those are people that kind of came in fairly close. You've got people like Chromie, Maiev Shadowsong, Lady Vash, Lady Leodrin, Syndragosa, and then you've got the bottom of the barrel, Lorna Crowley, Illyria, Varisa, Valyra Sanguinar as well, Therazane. I think Therazane should have made the list, but which you can actually see, I gave her Therazane a 7. Only other person who did that was Rior, who came close to that was Rioris. I don't see how Therazane the Stone Mother isn't, higher up on this list, but that's okay. But if we pop over to sheet 2, you can see this is the final top 10. So basically we take this big list and we condense it into 10. And then we rank those 10. And you can see over here the total and the average. We do this based on the average, which is funny because if you look at the number 1 spot, Ashara, if you look at that list, Dunn gave her an 8, I gave her a 5, Janelle gave her an 8, Snapple a 9, Rioris an 8, Necro and Howitzer 9s, Tyrannor 6. None of us gave Ashara a 10. Most of us gave 10s to Egwin.
Nope.
Nope.
Except for, of course, Howitzer and Dunn, who gave her 2. And then, of course, you look at Sylvanas. She's up there, but I gave Sylvanas a 2, which is actually backwards. So 10 would be like number 1 on this list, and 1 would be number 10, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So it's like you want to be higher on this list, which translates to you being lower on the other list, if that makes sense. I hope it does. And of course, as I was saying, as we were talking about with the subscribers earlier, you see back on sheet 1, there's like areas for subs and whatnot. We've removed those so you don't, get names of people and whatnot. But this is something that you as a subscriber can help us determine each week, is this top 10 list. And this is kind of how it's done. This is the spreadsheet of it all and all that good stuff. And so I just want to kind of show everyone kind of the differential and the vast difference in opinions that most of us actually have here, especially those who swing towards the Horde and those who swing towards the Alliance. You can see Jaina is actually pretty in the middle there, but didn't make it like as high as she probably should have, but who knows. But you've got people like Tyrande, the Horde Howitzer, and Dunn, you know, because she's Alliance, right? Like, so we have to put her low.
No,
right? Like, that's the point.
Here's
right?
how I did it, and this goes for Agwin as well. Because us the players, we know everything, yeah? So I was like, I'm going to do all my votes from have the common people, like the villagers in Stormwind and the grunts in Orgrimmar, what they know, what they've been influenced by. And
But that wasn't the qualification.
That's how I qualified it, because
And you skewed the whole thing by adding things.
And you say Pride didn't skew the whole thing by purposely voting Sylvanas at 2 because he knew that how he was going to vote high.
Yeah, and that's another skewing of the totals.
Yeah, but the thing is, people like the biased. That's why, like, I have like 3 diehard fans, and Pride has millions. That's how it works. That's how it's always worked on this. I voted from the common man doesn't even know who Agwin is. She was fighting a secret war that the common people didn't know about, so they wouldn't be influenced by her because they don't know who she is. It's Tyrande. How many thousands of years has Tyrande lived, and people didn't know what a night elf was?
That means you were coming up with a whole different list than I think the rest of us. Because I was looking at it from who affected the most events that happened in Azeroth, no matter who knows about them.
Which was the initial list. That's
why we do averages, because everyone is going to look at it their own way.
You're the only one that did, though. Everyone else voted. Well, except how we gave Sylvanas a 10, but that was like...
Yours is amazingly different.
Yep.
I'm special.
His is pretty similar to mine.
No, I didn't mean his numbers. I meant his viewpoint.
Right.
Oh,
right.
yeah, it's different, yeah.
Which, I mean, is okay. It's not necessary. It's not inherently bad. I just wanted to showcase that, number one, so people kind of know the way the system works and how the top 10 is made, but also just to see like how different some of our opinions and views on this list and lists to come for sure are. And I'm also going to open it up for the IRC, the commenters, and all that stuff to tell us what do you want us to do a top 10 list on. You can head over to knightsoflore.com and sign up there. And soon, here in just a moment, there's going to be a thread pop up. And I want your suggestions on what topics or what sort of list you would like to see us do on the top 10. Of course, I can come up with lists all day, but, you know, this is your show. This is for your entertainment, and so we want to go ahead and kind of bring that out and let you guys kind of help us choose where we go and what we do with that top 10 list.
Also,
so
as a bonus,
be sure to check out. Okay, go ahead.
As a bonus, you can also set the slightly different criteria that I judged the list by.
And skew the whole thing to what it shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
Sure. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm making that thread like as we speak, so you can go ahead and head over. What should we do for the next top 10 list? Let us know. Post topic. There you go, and it's up. So be sure to go over to knightsoflore.com in the But Wait There's Lore area. And maybe, just maybe, your idea will show up next week on the show. And of course, if your idea is selected, you will be invited to help us in the voting process as well. So be sure to get on that, guys. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and open the floodgates. Necro. Done.
Okay, I'm just going to make my opening statement.
Fight.
Agwin is not responsible for the Dark Portal. That is not.
No one ever said that, though. You're saying that. That's your strong.
No,
I said she influenced its occurrence because she did. She influenced that event. She didn't do it herself.
She gave birth and gave the power of Tirisfal to Medivh, and that is where it comes to an end. Everything after that is Medivh / Sargeras.
Every single thing happens because she gave him that power.
Well, in that
if
case,
that didn't happen, none of all those things would have happened.
Every single thing happened because the Dreadlords corrupted Sargeras.
False. Because Sargeras would have been irrelevant if she didn't give him the power.
Would there be a Burning Legion if not for that? would there be Guardians of Tirisfal?
We're talking
if not
about
for the
Awen.
Burning
We're
Legion?
talking about Awen, though. We're talking about Awen. You're
Awen
going back
wouldn't-
further than the character. Which is
Awen
what we're not doing.
wouldn't need to be the Guardian and wouldn't like usurp the whole system.
But
if
the
not for
Dreadlords aren't female.
Yeah, but Medivh's not female.
Yeah, but they're not female.
And neither's Mediv.
Go, Jen, go.
So
why-
they
why-
can't be part of the list, and we can't argue about them. That's how influence
No.
works. What you're talking about right now, that's how influence works. You're right, but none of those characters are female. They can't go on the list.
Well, if they can't go on the list, then then things that they did shouldn't be taken into consideration.
So
Can I
let
bring
me
up-
ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
It should be taken into consideration.
That is very often the case.
You were right. Your argument should be taken into consideration.
Done. Let me just. Can I ask you a question?
You may.
All right. So if Beethoven writes a piece of music, right?
Which I'm sure he did.
I would imagine, yes.
I've heard.
Beethoven writes a piece of music, right? And it's a fairly awesome piece of music, right? And then
Should we say
200 years later, some hip hop artist happens to listen to Beethoven, and he's like, that sounds pretty good, and then remixes it, right? Would you say that Beethoven influenced that song?
Are you saying that Mediv is a hip hop artist who
No.
has listened?
This is what he
What?
does. This is what he does. He changes the conversation.
No, I mean I don't agree. I don't agree with that analogy either, Pride.
No, Medivh might go up to like, you know, the Stormwind Bank, make some freestyles. You don't know. All I'm saying is that
I don't think there's law to support that, Pride.
what you do directly. Influence is a part of your legacy. Influence is something that once it is released, once you do something, then it creates a chain of events, and that chain of events is part of your influence.
Well,
Well,
in
then
that
would it
case,
go to
my
her? Would it
father.
go to her
that,
mom?
Pride, in that
Awen's mom,
case,
let's give it to her.
Pride, in that case, my father is an influential figure on this show because
is.
I am.
Yes, that's how it works.
I disagree with that because
No,
my father
I don't
has
think that's
nothing-
a good argument
My
to
father
make.
has nothing to do with this show, and Agwin had nothing to do with the opening
Can I-
of the Dark Portal.
Pride, I'm on your side, but can I point out why that is not a good argument?
Sure.
It's because Dunn's father didn't give Dunn the knowledge of the lore that got him a place on the show. Awen didn't just give birth to Medivh and that was it, and that's why.
Here's the funny thing. Dunn's father probably bought him World of Warcraft the first time
That's
he got
true.
it, which then opened up Dunn's world for
Of
him
Warcraft.
to explore and learn the lore of Warcraft, which then translated to him coming onto the show and talking about the lore and story of Warcraft. Therefore, his father does have an impact on this
Well,
show.
actually, my into the show was the T-shirt printing, but my father did buy the printer that I do the T-shirt printing on. So I will concede that Agwin. I will concede that Agwin is responsible for the Dark Portal if my father is an influential member of this show.
He
And
is.
now I'll leave it to you. Okay, then I concede all points that I have made.
You're purposefully obfuscating the issue and making it seem different than what we're actually saying.
I,
Can I just say, your main reason for picking Verona, by your own logic, doesn't make sense. Because Verona killed Lane, and you're attributing that event to then Varian doing other things. There's no
Well, no.
difference between that and Medivh doing the same thing.
Killing
If
Lane
Varian
was
did
a big
other
thing in
stuff,
itself.
But if Varian did all of those things himself and only did so because he was influenced by that death, you can't make that argument and
He
also
didn't
make
vote
the same
for it because of
argument.
Varian. He voted for it because she killed a king.
But that was part of his reason.
very
He did
influential-
those
He
things-
did give the reason that he went on to piss Varian off and make him
Yeah.
unstable.
Well, there's
And
a
we,
difference
Necro
between-
and I said it was the death of his wife that did
There's
that.
a difference
That was
between
an argument.
killing a father and then giving birth to someone who then gets influenced again by someone else to do something else that leads to other things. It's very two different things. There's a lot more strings to one of them than the other.
thank
But
you, Howard.
in the logic train of thought that the argument that Dunn's making, that doesn't matter. He's
Well,
he's
obviously,
saying
every
that
rule has
he's-
clauses, and this clause that he is using is once there's too many strings, you start to lose the influence as each one of those strings gets added. yes, he believes that she's a top 10 member. Does he believe that Garone has more influence because there's only maybe 1 or 2 strings attached rather than 10? Then yes.
And I will give Egwene everything up until she gives Medivh the power of the Guardian of Tirisfal, unless of course my father is an influential member of the show, in which case I'll give Egwene whatever she wants.
You're making a false argument again. You're making the argument that's not. No one has made that straw man argument. You're saying that we're saying
yes,
just the giving of the birth is the thing. I don't think that's a good argument. Yeah, because you're wrong. Your argument's wrong. That's why I'm arguing with you. Because you can't just say that. You can't just say, okay, this is my last thing I'll say, and then because I don't want to just keep fighting.
I don't believe that, because you said that like 6 times. When
I know, because damn it, God damn it, you keep baiting me into continuing the argument. So, but I will eventually, I will stop. And now by saying that, I forgot what I was going to say.
So by British rules of engagement, you lose.
Fuck.
No, because I can continue. But I think that after all this heated debate and whatnot, which really is not going to resolve anything, Howitzer,
yes,
as we saw last week, has created a new series. So let's show us what is Howitzer's take. If Howitzer had the opportunity to write the lore of Warcraft, how would he retcon the story of Sylvanas Windrunner?
Not too long ago in the middle of the forest, there was a girl named Sylvanas who was standing on a bridge. She was standing on this bridge because it was her life goal to protect it from all evil who might try and cross it, because let's face it, there's no way above a bridge, like using zeppelins or something, from killing her friends and family and resurrecting their dead friends. Now, one day, in a typically boring job, a man came up to her with hundreds of creepy spider things behind him. And everyone knows when a man comes up to you with hundreds of creepy spider things behind him, you give that man your attention, because he's probably really nice. I mean, why else would the spiders follow him? Anyway, he came up to Sylvanas and was like, "Oh, Sylvanas, you better give me that bridge." And when she asked why, he's like, "Because I need to kill your friends and family and resurrect my dead friend here." Well, Sylvanas wasn't too keen on the idea, but she still bothered to ask what she would get in return. "Oh, well, I would make you the queen of all my possessions, including my broken city that I stole from my father that I killed, and all of my undead subjects." Well, Sylvanas didn't want to be the queen of the undead subjects, because when you think of undead, you think of dead corpses. Why would you want to be queen of a broken city and dead corpses? But the man quickly explained that no, they're not undead, as in dead corpses, they're undead as in not dead. Which would be alive. You'd be the queen of the alive people, and my broken city. Which, by the way, has a very spacious basement. Well, Sylvanas was taken back, because she's never been the queen of the alive things with a very spacious basement. So, she decided to take the man up on his deal, give him the bridge, and accept her new title of Sylvanas, Queen of the Alive People. And that's what happened.
All right, Gary, I'm on South Pennsylvania here. Look at the tornado now. Take our stream. They'll be slightly delayed. This is going to be an EF2. It's going to be about 200 yards wide. It is the tornado sirens are blaring out here. The tornado got larger. See violent rotation around this tornado. This is a deadly thing, Gary.
We're inside it! We're in it right now. Okay, well, now drop down! Stop! Drop it down!
That's where it crossed I-35. There are cars there, there are MC units there, there are police there. Look at it. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I don't know if people lived in that one. I honestly do not know if people lived in that.
Want to stay up to date with all the latest happenings around the Smoking Gamer and its crew? Well, be sure to follow us on our various social media platforms, including Facebook at facebook.com/TSGamer, twitter.com/Pride1G, or simply at Pride1G. You can also check us out on Anook at anook.com/page/TSGamer. And of course, you can always come and join the fun over at www.knightsoflore.com. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to the last little bit of the show here. We're going to do some Q&A. Hopefully you guys have been sending in all of your questions to Dunn in the IRC. If you haven't yet done that, make sure you check out, or PM Dunn, your name is It's Me MPD, correct?
It's me, MPD.
It's me, MPD. So, with that, make sure you get your IRC questions to him. You can also email us your questions to lore@omfg.fm if you can't be asked to get into the IRC, or if you're watching the archive and there is no one currently in the IRC. Which actually, I think there's quite a few people that are there outside.
I am sometimes always in the IRC, apart from when I am not.
Indeed. I'm actually like that too. I'm in the IRC except for when I'm not. It's a really good, system that I've got set up there.
That's true.
But anyways, I do want to go ahead and mention once again that if you want to join us in the IRC, you can go to knightsoflore.com. In the little menu bar there, it should say something like live chat. Just click on that button, it'll load up, and all you gotta do is type in a name, hit enter, you'll be in here with us. Double click on It's Me MPD and get your questions sent to him. Rioris, even though you want to be lazy about it and make them do the thing, if you could op It's Me MPD for the easiness of getting people to, see his name at the top of the list, that'd be great. So, yeah, make sure you go ahead and do that. In the meantime, let's go ahead and hit up an email or two. Because someone asked me, I want to go ahead and remind you, knightsoflore.com is where you can find the thread on where to post your ideas for the top 10 list. If you go to knightsoflore.com, it should be right there in the Warcraft lore section, which is the second one, right after news and discussion. It's at the very bottom of that. It'll say top 10, it's in the Boether's lore forum, all that good stuff. Go ahead and post it there. We've already got quite a few. We've got top 10 people you want to kill in WoW. Top 10 strongest weapons currently in Azeroth, like Ashbringer and Frostmourne. Top 10 significant lore characters from the Warcraft 1, 2, and 3 games that raped in WoW, I guess. Top 10 troublemakers, top 10 questing zones. Whole bunch of them, guys, so keep them coming. Let us know. So, let's go ahead. Let's get a couple of email questions in here.
I was just about to say, can you do some email questions while I sort out?
Absolutely, I can.
The questions
let's take
from...
a look at this. This is from Chris Thompson. It says, in patch 5.2, you see Capture Titan as an additional heroic boss. Who is this Titan? Why and how was he captured by the Mogu? And are the Mogu some kind of Titan creation?
Yes.
What was the question? Sorry, I was talking.
Basically, it's kind of in two parts, or three parts. Number one, who's the Titan in the Mogu raid in 5.2?
Raden is his name.
Yeah. How and why was he captured by the Mogu?
Thunder King!
Yeah, pretty much. He was in the Mogushan vaults, if you guys have done the LFR, in the engines of Nakshala, where the dragon is, Elegon. That's where he was and got captured.
Right. And are the Mogu some kind of Titanic creation? Yes.
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 So thanks for that question, Chris. Moving on, we've got one from Cohen Allwood. It says, hello everyone, I'm the Boether's Lore crew. Love your show. So I decided to ask you a question since I was going to last week, but I was busy. I was happy to find you weren't on. Otherwise, I'd have missed another show. Anyway, I'll get to the question. It's something that's been bothering me regarding churches in WoW, the ones that are directed towards the Holy Light. They seem to be all over Lordaeron, but not so much in the Kingdoms of Stormwind, except for Northshire Abbey and the Cathedral. Lordaeron had big places like that as well as small churches. Is this because of an oversight or the fact that the kingdom is still being rebuilt, or maybe the humans are becoming a people whom don't want to worship any religious figures, or am I just missing out? From your fan, Cohen. This is it's kind of a a strange question because I don't think there's anything specific in the lore about it. I think it's honestly just a game mechanic thing, maybe.
Yeah.
Granted, I would imagine that there are just as many churches. Well, okay, here's the thing. You got to remember, Stormwind is actually sort of an exception to the rule when it comes to the 7 human kingdoms. You could kind of argue that so is Kulturas, but you've got to kind of look at when you look at the way the continent is made and all that stuff. You see like a grouping of 5 of the 7 kingdoms. You've got Lordaeron, you've got Dalaran, Gilneas. Those guys all right in there, right? And what are the other 2? I'm forgetting. Stromgard, of course. And what's that other one? Starts with an S. Was it? I thought I already said Alterac.
Oh, I didn't hear it.
You've got Alterac, Dalaran, Lordaeron, Gilneas, and Stromgard. That's right. Okay. Okay, so you've got those 5, which are actually fairly close. And then you've got Stormwind, which is pretty far away when you think about it. It's a lot further away than any of the other ones are from Lordaeron. And then you've got Kulturas, which of course is on an island. But even that is still, I think, a lot closer than Stormwind is. So when you think about that, you're going to have a lot more settlements in between those big areas, those big capital cities, right? You're going to have little outposts and towns along the way, like South Shore, Terran Mill, things like that. And so you're going to have more churches because you want to have a church in every little town, obviously. But when you go down to Stormwind, there's not as many towns, and they're a lot more spread out, I think, than they are in the northern lands. And so maybe that's why there aren't so many churches about. So do you guys think that kind of answers the question?
Yes.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
I listened to the entire answer.
Well, I mean, Stormwind still is a big believer in Holy Light. That wasn't changed. I mean, the Cathedral District it's brought up, but it seems like it's kind of discounted. But it's a huge part of Stormwind.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's my side of it.
If there's usually you see in like the real world, you see so many churches because there's so many different kinds of churches.
Right. That too.
All
right.
got the one.
Yeah. I would say that aesthetically, looking at the game, it's probably just because it's just the way it was designed. There's no intent on the lore. Lore-wise, I would say that if there's less churches down there, it's because there's only one kingdom down there. While up north, you had many, many kingdoms kind of closer, a lot closer together. So that would probably make sense. This one, last email, I think hopefully done is getting the IRC questions up. Excellent show. I started recently following, and I'm totally hooked. Keep up the good work. My question to you is concerning Krasis, namely his death. Don't know if you discussed this already, and if that is the case, I better watch some reruns. Though, through most of the lore books, Krasis is depicted as one of the main characters, and the way he died isn't the way I, and I suppose a lot of fans too, wanted. Yes, the sacrifice of ridding the world of more corrupted dragons, I get it, but still, my opinion is that he deserved a quote-unquote better death. Any thoughts on that?
Well, you see, Christy Golden wrote it, not Knack. and that's why that happened.
Yeah, you got to realize that Krasis is a Knack character, who, while he did have a lot of influence in other aspects of the lore, he was a Knack character, along with Ronan, along with a couple other major players. All the dragons were Knack characters, actually. But
Krasis was Knack's favorite character. Let's be honest.
Yeah, Krasis probably the only reason Krasis legitimately has so much lore and story behind him is because Knack wrote all the dragon books, and he's a dragon, so. And he was also one of Knack's favorite dragons as well. So, but on to the question. Okay, let's just go down the line real quick. Jan, what do you think of his death? Do you think he deserved a better death? Do you like his death? What's the deal?
I didn't really have an opinion on it. I'm sorry. That's like an awful thing to say on an opinion show, but
that's all right.
It just kind of was.
I know like people watching the stream can't see like your Skype picture, but the expression on that drawing just like sums up exactly what you said. Just like okay then. That was
for reference, it's But yeah, so there's that. Necro.
You know what? I don't dislike Crassus as much as I do Ronan. So, I mean, I felt like the whole point of Cataclysm was we're gonna win, but we're gonna lose a lot along the way as we eventually win. And it was all about the dragons. It's all about like the whole culmination of Dragon Soul is the dragons can't watch over us anymore. So I felt like it was very fitting that, you know, they're killing off so many dragons in the Cataclysm story, and this takes part of it, part of the aspects. I was fine with it. I thought it was okay. It felt like it made sense in the story of we're losing the dragons, but we ultimately will win.
Indeed. And let's get the Horde guys' opinions. Dunn and Howie.
Dan, go ahead.
I hated him. I hated him.
Why?
I hated him.
Right.
I didn't really have an opinion of him. I thought he was okay. Seemed like a nice enough guy.
No, I just shown it once or twice. In Day of the Dragon, I was like, oh, this guy's pretty cool. Night of the Dragon, I'm like, well, it's a follow-on from Day of the Dragon. Day, Night, that makes sense. And then the War of the Ancients.
Right.
There was no need for him to be there.
Right.
Like, we had Broxigar, we didn't need Kraus. We didn't. No, the thing is, we had two of him at the same time.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Time traveling.
That's true. It's getting dark. I should turn a light on.
I thought you were going for a whole, like, environment vibe going.
Yeah,
no,
that's...
the show started, it was daylight outside, and there's a window right here, but now I'm looking at the stream, and I'm like, holy shit, it's all, like, just dark.
It's a representation. The Shaw of Pride started out good and light, and now...
That's true! That's true! Why didn't you tell me that before I said something, and then I could have sounded really smart?
Because I just thought of it
and,
that one
really,
second.
really cinematic and, like, deep and provocative, you know? Like, damn. Could have been all mysterious and got all the ladies. Shit. No, so when it comes down to his death, I thought, honestly, it was okay. I think, of course, as someone who actually liked Krasus, that, yeah, I would have liked to have seen him go out in a little more of a direct way, like in a fight or something like that. But
So if Knack had written it and it had taken up a third of a book.
Right. So, I don't know. At the end of the day, I like it, but at the same time, of course, it could have been a little bit better. There are a couple of things that I would have liked to see, a couple of ways I would have liked to see him go out. Like I said, not so, like, but the whole sacrificing himself for the continuation or whatever of the, or to not have corrupted red dragon eggs out there and about, I thought, you know, that's an alright way to go.
You know what? It's just sort of clicked. Like, I mean, obviously, if people don't like read the books, they wouldn't know. But Christy Golden keeps messing with Nat's characters.
Yeah.
Like, how do you think that? I can just imagine an argument between the two of them.
There was a question that she got asked about that, and it was a very political answer.
Yeah, I talked to Knack actually at the last BlizzCon. Actually, they were both there, and I talked to both of them for quite some time. And they were there. They were sitting right next to each other, just having a sandwich, and we sat down, had a little discussion for a couple minutes, and they're all right. Knack's all right with it. He said he has no problem, and if that's what Blizzard felt needed to happen, then that's what Blizzard felt needed to happen. And
that's just for the public eye, of course, though.
Well, because we weren't really speaking on the record, so I mean, it wasn't. I don't think it was that big of a deal, honestly. But who knows? I don't know. But he seemed pretty okay with it all.
Now, Knack is also a big fan of Malfurion and Illidan. He likes
Right.
He likes those two as well. So.
Indeed. So are we ready for some IRC questions now, Don?
Yep.
All right. Let's hit it up.
Okay. There was a guy. I say there was a guy because he's since quit the IRC, but there is a guy by the name of Marco, and I'm not sure if like he's still listening, but he sent a bunch of questions. It was like I'm like an E-celebrity or something, like treble Z list celebrity for real. But this was specifically thanks to Pride, best beat Omicron in the original but by this little team. I can explain the entire story of Azeroth, but strangely enough, know nothing about everyday life on Azeroth. I would love nothing more but for you to answer some questions for me about the daily life on Azeroth. For example, what is the lifespan of each of the races? How much stronger is an orc than a human? If our WoW characters could be part of the lore, how strong would a level of 90 raider be compared to O? And a major lore character, sorry. And then he asked me what my favourite football team was.
Football or football?
Football.
Yeah.
By which
Football.
what you ignorant folk would call soccer.
Oh.
So soccer.
So you're talking about soccer. Then.
So football.
Okay. We'll come back to you next week with the lifespans, because there are lifespans. But it gets complicated when you get into like the elven stuff, because they like had periods of immortality, so they couldn't die and all this other shit. So we'll come back to you on that.
So thanks for setting the topic for next week, dude.
Yeah. One of the discussions for next week. What were some of the other things you wanted to know? Like what would a level 90? What would the power level of level 90 comparatively?
How strong would a level 90 rider be compared to a major lore character?
We wouldn't be. We're not that strong. Sorry.
It still takes 40 or more of us to take down a major faction leader.
You can't take game mechanics and translate to lore. But we just really aren't that strong, to be quite honest.
Speak for yourself, gnome.
However, when you ask like how much stronger is an orc compared to a human, orcs are probably twice as strong as a human in terms of actual physical strength, but a human is twice as smart as an orc, so it evens
Depends
out.
on the orc.
I'm waiting for the slogan.
Go on Pride Tape, first of the season 6. You haven't said it yet. First season 6, you haven't said it.
The superior intellect of the Alliance.
There it is. I've been waiting for it. I thought it was going to come up last episode, but I guess you have to force it sometimes.
I'm trying to retire the superior intellect.
Trying to come up with a new one.
It didn't seem like it with the comment you just made before it.
Well, I mean, I'm just stating facts. That's all I'm saying. If you take an average orc and an average human, the human's going to be smarter than the orc, but the orc is going to be physically stronger than the human.
Sounds about right.
And that's just the way it is. But of course, if you take an average human and you put him up against Thrall, then yeah, Thrall's going to be as smart, if not a little bit smarter than the human. But you take someone like, someone who's a really skilled fighter. Like if you take Varian, for example, and you put him up against a normal orc, Varian's going to kick the normal orc's fucking ass. I mean, it's just no ifs, ands, or buts. So
if the orc had a machine gun.
I'd like to add generally an intelligent, and this isn't for the most part this is true. There's exceptions, but an intelligent orc his intelligence is probably more military minded than.
Right.
But a human generally will be overall more intelligent. The orc might surpass him in matters of military actions, but
right.
But yeah, yeah, that sounds about right. Humans are generally smarter than orcs. Orcs generally stronger than humans.
All right, well let's keep this going. Let's get another question in here.
Okay, USS Reliant asks, if you could make any instance or raid your crib, which would it be and why? He says he would choose Ulduar and chill with Algalan and whatnot.
Karazhan.
Which part of Karazhan? Like
the whole fucking thing. I want my own tower.
Karazhan.
I want my own fucking tower. Just giant libraries and dragons and yeah, that'd be awesome.
I'll take the Sunwell.
Wait, what was the question? I'm sorry.
If you could make any instance or raid your crib, what would you pick?
Probably Karazhan, because Karazhan.
You can't have Karazhan. It already belongs to Janelle.
Yeah, dude, step off.
Janelle.
And now the Sunwell belongs to me.
Oh man, but I remember the sun well.
Well, yeah, now you're gonna remember it as
No,
my
fuck
crib.
that. The Black Temple.
You can, okay? You guys better start picking fast.
Buy my own house. Shit.
I think you've all missed out on the best choice. Tempest Keep. It's a fucking spaceship.
Go ahead and have your Tempest Keep.
Mine was the Eye of Eternity.
The eye. Isn't it just a platform?
No,
There's
the
magic
Malagos
and
broke
shit.
it.
Yeah, there's like
So it's
floating
not- you gotta
magic and
float of
craziness.
nothingness.
I'm falling through nothingness, so I can just like lay back and just be like, this is how it's gonna be till the end of time.
There you go.
No, eventually, the thing that people don't know, eventually there is a bottom to it, and there's a blue ring. And if you fall through the blue ring, you come out an orange one on the top.
What? How many heads that just went over?
Well, in an ideal world, none.
All right, what do you got? What do you got for us next, then?
Let's see. Smart guy 876 asks, "What is your favorite Murloc name? You have to pronounce it correctly."
What is your favorite Murloc name?
That guy, yeah.
I like King Murgle, who of course
You didn't say it right.
Who isn't a
isn't he a night elf?
Yes.
Yeah.
I like King Murgle.
Come on, you guys have to pick Cookie. You guys pick Cookie. He's the Murloc chef. That's mine.
I mean, Cookie.
Cookie.
You gotta say it right.
Cookie.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, so what else do we got?
My question from Pauladin.
What?
His name is Pauladin. I assume he is a paladin and a Paul.
It's Pauladine, but she's a paladin.
He's the paladin name.
My question is just how powerful is Malfurion? I keep hearing that he is the most powerful on all of Azeroth, but is this fact? Could he compete against Arthas, Deathwing, Ashara?
Who?
Malfurion.
No, I don't think he's as strong as like.
Any
I don't
of
think
them?
he's as strong as Deathwing.
Nah. Because remember...
Well, now he is since Deathwing's dead, but.
Well, remember, Malfurion lost to Arthas in the original Lowdown?
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah.
That's true.
That was a thing.
That was a thing.
Well, he has been powering up, like all.
Well, no, he's been napping.
Continues.
Like a Super Saiyan.
He is. He basically becomes Goku at the end of Storm Rage. I'm not even lying.
Now I've got a mental image of Garrosh as Nappa.
I think that's gonna do it for us here.
And
on the
just,
show. You got one more?
I've got one fairly quick one, but it's quite a good one from Angry
ahead.
Smurf. Do you ever feel that the WoW novels and the WoW MMO are two separate universes? It seems that a lot of powerful events happen in the novels that are seldom referenced in-game, if at all.
Well, they've stated over and over and over again that they are trying to integrate more of what happens in the novel into the game. And they've done a little bit better recently than they have in the past. But no, I don't feel that they are two separate worlds. I feel that... I don't know. I feel that when you play the game, you're kind of witnessing something firsthand, and whenever you read the novel, you're kind of reading like a news story, right? Or someone is telling you like a story about what happened.
I can see where that idea would come from, and there's one man that I think of, and that is Madan.
Yeah.
No. We don't acknowledge Madan. Ever.
Also, Garona's responsible for Madan, seeing as we're now allowing that argument. So that should be at least like place 0.
She is.
That is what a disgusting thing to say, Howitzer.
Yeah, Howie.
What's wrong with you?
What?
Fucking Howie.
You said in the chat, in the production chat.
Oh. I'm a problem solver, Pride. You gotta let it happen.
Oh, okay. Well, that's gonna do it for us. Well, unless anyone else would like to answer that, Jan, Howie, no.
I'm good.
They didn't listen to the question.
I already forgot the question. What was?
You're giving me way too much credit in listening.
All right. Well, that's gonna do it here for season 6, episode number 2. You already know one thing we'll be talking about. Let's go ahead. Let's pick a top 10 list while my mother's calling me. Let's go ahead and pick. Let's see, top 10. Let's go to our thing. Let's go ahead and pick one. Right. Let's do that.
Where is it in general lore discussion?
No, it's in Boy There's Lore.
I see. That
Let's
makes.
take-
I just
What do we want to do here, guys?
I don't know. I'm pulling it up.
You want to do 2 and do top 10 villains and heroes? Like do 2 in the same episode?
Well,
Or is that too much?
Are we expecting a slow week?
Yes.
Oh, in that
Stop
case,
calling me.
I think top 10 deaths is pretty good.
go away, Mom.
Yeah. Oh, she bought a new computer today, and she wants me to help her set it up over the phone because she's only 800 miles away in a fucking whole other state. So.
Here's a good one. Angry Smurf sent this one in. Top 10 reasons Egwin does not deserve to be on the top 10 list.
How about top 10 reasons Sylvanas doesn't deserve to be on the top 10 list?
Okay, you make that list, and we'll make our list.
We'll put them both up.
And then the viewers will decide.
I think if we're gonna do 2 in one episode, we should do the top 10 heroes of the Alliance and the Horde. If we're gonna do 2 in one episode.
There's only one. There's only one for the Horde, and that's Broxigar. That's it. He's number 1 through 10.
Well, you guys could do the Horde list, and we could do the Alliances. I don't know. If we're gonna do 2, I think it should be gimmicky.
Well, no, if we did it that way, then we just do the top 5 of the Alliance and top 5 of the Horde.
That makes more sense.
But, okay, for the
I'm
twist,
sure we'll figure it out.
For the twist, me and Howie do the Alliance, and you guys do the Horde.
That's fine. We won't be biased, so it's great.
Yeah.
Maybe at least I won't.
Yes, you will.
No, I won't. I like the Alliance more, but when it comes to discussion, I don't be biased.
Would you put Broxigar on the list?
Yes.
I don't believe you.
You'd be on the list.
No, I sort of like. He's the best warrior. I sort of like top 10 villains and heroes personally, but I'm down.
Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do the top 10 current threats to Azeroth. Like, what are the top 10 current
10?
threats to Azeroth? Yeah.
There economy, one of them. Baron's shot, maybe.
So there you go. We'll do that. We'll do that one. Top 10 current threats to Azeroth, and that is from Paladin. So Paladin, I'm gonna PM you the details on how you can vote. Also, remember for you subscribers or folks that are about to subscribe, you will also have a chance to help us out in the voting of that as well. And also, once again, all proceeds from this month subscribers will go to the relief effort in Moore, Oklahoma, to the tornado victims. So. And last time we did something like that, we did the sale on the MP3s of seasons 1 through 4. We raised almost $1,000, so not too shabby for a little lore podcast.
And the last time we did this, I contribute with the T-shirts. That's the case as well. Again, because charity.
I want a T-shirt.
Charity is nice.
No, Howie. The charity isn't me giving you T-shirts.
Yeah, no. Actually, I have a really good idea. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this, but I will actually.
Is this one of these really good ideas that you announce and then I'm like, I wish you'd ran that past me first?
No, because I'm not going to announce it.
I see.
Dunn flies to your house and shakes your hand.
No. It shouldn't be too bad. We will. We'll figure it out. We may not. I don't know. We'll see.
Are we having a raffle?
No. Well, yes, maybe.
A potluck.
Possibly. Potluck dinner. Yeah. Everyone in my house for potluck dinner. Everyone brings green bean casserole. That's how it usually goes. All right, so
Bring McDonald's.
Riorth is in pain, so I guess I've held him out as long as I possibly can. So we're gonna go ahead and end the episode there, guys. Thank you for tuning in and joining us on this exciting episode of Boy There's Lore. Be sure to tune in next week. You know a little bit about what we're going to be talking about, so you know a little bit what to expect. We'll see you guys Don't forget to follow us all on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Subscribe if you haven't already for whatever reason, and all that good stuff. So we'll see you guys in 7 days. Want to stay up to date with all the latest happenings around the Smoking Gamer and its crew? Well, be sure to follow us on our various social media platforms, including Facebook at facebook.com/TSGamer, twitter.com/Pride1G, or simply at Pride1G. You can also check us out on Anook at anook.com/page/TSGamer. And of course, you can always come and join the fun over at www.knightsoflore.com.
All right, Gary, I'm on South Pennsylvania here. Look at the tornado now. Take our stream. It'll be slightly delayed. This is going to be an EF2. It's going to be about 200 yards wide. It is the tornado sirens are blaring out here. The tornado got larger.